Hello everyone, today we're going to solve LeetCode 1282. Group the people given the group size they belong to. So first we'll read the problem statement. There are n people split into some unknown number of groups. Each person is labeled with a unique ID from 0 to n minus 1. You're given an integer array group sizes where group size I is the size of the group that person I is in. For example, if group size at index 1 is equal to 3, then that means person 1 should be in a group size of 3. Return a list of groups such that each person I is in a group of group sizes I. Each person should appear exactly one group, and every person must be in a group. If there are multiple answers, return any number of them. So we're going to go over why this is the answer. So each one of these numbers in a group size array represents the number of people that are in the group, and the unique IDs are actually the indices. So let's quickly write that out. So this would be person 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And as you can see here, person 0, 1, 2, 3, and 6 are all supposed to be in a group with 3 people. And as you see, this checks out here. It's a group of 3 people, a group of 3 people. And we see that person 5 with the value of 1, index 5, or unique ID 5, and the value 1, which means they need to be in a group of 1 person. And we check that out. Person 5 is in a group of 1. So the question is, how do we actually solve this? And what we're going to do is use our trusty hash map. We're going to have the key be the number of people that are allotted in the group, and the value will be a list of all of the unique IDs that are supposed to be in a group of said number. And what we're going to do is have a while loop through, and we're going to pop off elements until we have, we're going to have a while loop, and we're going to have a temp array, and we're going to pop off elements and add them to our temp array until the length is equal to whatever the key is, i.e. the number of people that are supposed to be in the group. Just that's a quick high-level overview of what we're doing, but we're going to go into it, and it should make a lot more sense. So let's say we had our map here. The key, in this case, the first element C is a 3, so our key will be a 3, and the value will be a list. And what we want to do is append all the unique IDs that are supposed to be in a group size of 3. So that would be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6. And for the next key, there's only 2 keys here, so the next one would be 1. And we have a list, and we'd append a unique ID 5. So here we go. And what we're going to do now is we're going to iterate over all the keys in map, and we're going to have a while loop that's going to continue until we've popped off all the elements inside of this list, i.e. we've placed every single unique ID into their corresponding group, and then we move on. And once the map is completely empty, everybody's been placed accordingly, and then we should be able to return the answer. So first, let's say we have a res variable, because in the example, the output is a 2D array, so we want to have an array that we're going to be appending to. So let's just call this the array. And first, we're going to loop over map, and we see that the first key is 3. So we're going to say while map at key still has values, i.e. it does. We're going to have a array called temp. It's just a temporary variable, and that's going to be empty. So the first while loop is going to go until map at key is empty, and the second while loop is going to go until our temporary array is less than the length of the key. Because if we see, there's 6 elements inside of our map. We don't want to append all 6 to temp. We want to stop once the temporary array is filled, and we want to append it to res. That's how we get 2 separate arrays with 3 values. So our temp array is empty, and what we're going to do is say map.pop. So we'd pop the 6, and we'd want to append that to our temp. We pop the 4 and the 3. And we want to append both of those to our temporary array. So 6, 4, and 3. And here we don't continue. The second while loop will stop us because the length of our temporary variable is equal to the key, which is 3. So we're going to append that onto res. So we have 6, 4, and 3. There we go. And that's going to terminate that inner while loop. And we're going to reset. And we're going to keep going until map at key is empty. So as you can see, there's still 3 more elements, so we can continue. And the same process here. So we're going to have 2, 1, and 0. We're going to pop all those off. 2, 1, and 0. And we see that temp now has a length of 3. So we're going to append that onto res. So 2, 1, 0. And now this while loop would terminate because map at key is completely empty. We've popped off all the elements. So now we're going to iterate to the next key. In this case, it would be 1. So our temp is going to be reinitialized as an empty array. And we're going to pop off the 5. And we're going to append it to our temp array. Now we see that this array has a length of 1, which corresponds to our key, which is a length of 1. So we know that this is filled. It's at max capacity. We're going to append that to res. Excuse the bad handwriting. And as you can see, this is equal to the output array. We have one group with 5, and we have 2, 1, 0, 2, 1, 0 in another group. So we have these two. And the last group has 6, 4, 3, 6, 4, 3, and that is the answer. All right, so let's quickly code this up. So the first thing I want to do is create the map. So let's just call this map with a capital M equals defaultdict. And then we're going to have a list. And if you don't know how defaultdict worked, all it does is if we try to query an element that does not exist in a map, it will just create an empty list for us because we're appending things to a list. The key is going to be an integer and the value is going to be an array or a list. So all we want to do is make sure the default value is always going to be a list. If you don't have defaultdict, you can just create an empty array, but this is just to save time. Next, what we're going to do is fill out our map. So we're going to say for I in range group sizes. We're going to say map at group sizes I. So this will be the key, which is going to be the number of people that are allowed in the group, dot append I, because I is the unique ID. Nice. So the next part, what we're going to do is create our res variable that we're going to be appending to, and res just stands for result. Now what we want to do is a loop over our map because we want to make sure we empty out all these arrays that have just been filled out. So we're going to say for key in map, and the first while loop, we want to go into the while map at key, and it just says while map at key is considered a truthy value, and as we see, map at key is an array or a list. And while it has values still inside of it, it will be considered truthy. And once it is empty, it will be false and this loop will terminate. So here we want to have our variable temp, just like we did in the example earlier, is an empty array. And here we have our next while loop. So I'm going to say while the length of temp is less than key. Just like we did up here. We want to go, remember we were filling out this array here with 3 elements? We want to go until there is key number of elements, i.e. 3 in this example. So while the length of temp is less than key, what we want to do is pop off of map at key, just like we did here. So we're going to say something like num equals map at key dot pop. So this will pop off an element and we're going to store in a variable called num. And next we're going to see is say temp dot append num. So that's going to add that right to our num. And this will go until the temp array has key number of elements. And after this while loop breaks out, all we want to do is append that to our res, just like we did up here. Once it has the right number of elements, we want to append it right into the res because it is filled out and that's the answer. So we're going to say res dot append temp. So now we have a 2D array because res is an array, temp is an array, and we're appending temp to the res. So after this finishes, we should just be able to return res. And let's see if we actually did this first try. Let's submit it. A list object cannot be interpreted as an integer. What happened here? Oh, remember we have to do length. For I in range length of group sizes. I just forgot to do the length of the group sizes. Let's try that one more time. A little small hiccup there. And there we go. We passed, and besides that little small issue we had a couple seconds ago, I'd say it's pretty good. So hopefully you learned something new, and if you want to suggest a new problem, comment down below. Peace.